All right, everybody, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, there is chatter in the SEO community that content sites are making a comeback. So, in this episode of the show, I'm going to explain if you don't know what a content site is, I'm going to share what people are saying and what people are saying has happened to their sites. Then, I'm going to give my thoughts on if it is worth investing in a content site. Should you do a content site? So, a content site, this is a website that is primarily built to make informative, educational, entertaining content, pretty much entirely top of funnel content. That's informational content. It's at the top of the funnel. People are looking to get answers. They're not looking to take action. They're mostly focused on getting traffic from search engine optimization. They're doing a lot of blog posts and articles and guides and reviews and tutorials. And they're monetizing with display ads, affiliate marketing, sponsored posts. That's mostly it. Some of them sell their own products, but some examples, okay, of a blog about home gardening, or a site that reviews tech gadgets, or a how-to site for cooking recipes. So that is what a content site is, and here is what people are saying. And this comes from Introvert Geek UK on X, who shared day 4. And by the way, right now is June's core algorithm update. So people are wondering, is this new algorithm update from Google, is it bringing back these content sites that many of which were hit by Google's helpful content update 2 years ago? Or it could be 2 years ago, or it could be 1 year ago during the March update last year. But people are wondering if content sites now with this new update in June are making a comeback. This user, Introverted Geek UK, shares day 4. All right, Google, now you're just being silly. And you see this person's search traffic, it's just steadily hovering at around 225 to 250 clicks a day from Google search, from organic Google search. And then recently it just spikes up and it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. And it goes to about 750 clicks a day, which is where it is now. Just a dramatic spike up to the right. Somebody asks in the comments, where's the full chart? And this person shares the 12-month view. And so what we see is in March of last year, it reached a peak where it almost got 500 clicks a day, but it was probably closer to around 300 to 350 clicks a day. And then it just steadily declined. And then during this recent update, spikes up. Very dramatic spike up. And if that was it, if it was this one person who was saying this, I'd be like, okay. But there's a lot more people who are saying this. I shared this before. This is from Lily Ray, who's a great follow on X. And Lily Ray said, hearing and seeing similar things from many small bloggers, including helpful content update affected websites. And so Lily Ray is quoting this travel blogger, Kylie, who said, I know they say not to look during an update, but Sunday and Monday took a drastic U-turn for the first time in months. This is the 6-month view. And so Kylie's travel blog, which was hit by Google's helpful content update and lost a lot of traffic, a ton of traffic, was, I think she said that it was basically rendered worthless. And you see the same type of just dramatic spike up, the same exact type from the previous person, Introvert Geek UK. The phoenix rising from the ashes. And this was from Lars Lofgren, who came on the podcast. Lars Lofgren, well-known guy in SEO. He was Neil Patel's first employee, and he's been on this podcast twice. He came on episode 640 of this podcast and episode 470 of this podcast. The first time he came in this podcast, he shared doing $100,000 a month with affiliate SEO to a single web page. The second time he came on, episode 640, it's titled "They Nuked My Site Overnight." And so he was talking about one of his sites that was hit by Google's helpful content update. And so he has a site that just completely spiked down, really, really awful spike down. And this spike down was in August of 2024 to the end of September 2024. So Lars shares about this site, and he shares a graph where his search traffic does the same thing as everybody else. It jumps up, just dramatically jumps up. And so Lars Lofgren says, so about those HCU, helpful content update sites, getting a bump in the current Google algorithm update, I can confirm it. At least for now. The grumpy pessimist in me is expecting this to crater before the end of the update or the next update. I hope he's wrong. I hope the grumpy pessimist is wrong. If you're wondering if I did anything to the site, I unpublished about 30% of the site when it was first hit, and then I haven't touched it in 9 months. So not much. And somebody asks, and it's really crazy when you see the graph yourself. So somebody said, do you know what % of traffic has returned to your site based on helpful content update levels? I know it's early days, but based on what data you do have. And Lars said the recent spike is a drop in the bucket. If I zoom out to 2 years, the recent spike is almost entirely invisible. It's so far from the all-time highs that's not even worth figuring out the percentage. Probably still down by like 98% or something. And so I looked this up in SEMrush, and he's right. It's really a little blip in what he was getting before. I'll just tell you, according to SEMrush, he was getting 6,000 visits a month from Google. And so then it went down to like 48 visits a month from Google. And now it's at 300 visits a month from Google. And so it is indeed a tiny blip compared to what it was before. But maybe it will come up, maybe it will go up. However, there is a lot of volatility around it because Lars Lofgren shares an update. And he says the HCU recovery continues. Well, sort of. And he shares a graph. And after this big spike up, it goes down just a bit. Goes down by about 50%. So maybe it'll go down further, or maybe it'll just jump back even more. But he did see that same initial spike up as everybody else. And it could continue to rise. And the last site I want to share, it's AIinvest.com. And I shared this recently, which is the winner of June's core algorithm update, AI Invest. And this is an AI generated news site. From my research into it, from my cursory research into it, my brief research into it, and I could be wrong, this is what it looks like to me, and they're pretty open about it. It is an AI-generated news site. So it's news, a lot of financial news, market news, and the news is written by AI. And then they also include like a human spokesperson who says on LinkedIn that he was brought into the site to give a human touch to this AI generated news site. But they say, they're pretty open on the site. Yeah, our content is written by AI, and it's called A Invest or AI Invest. Okay, so let me share what happened. All right. So the site has existed for a long time. And in June, for most of June, they were getting 275,000 clicks a month from Google. Organic clicks. Pretty good. But then in the course of 1 to 3 days, they jump up, oh my gosh, to 2.2 million clicks a month. In 3 days, they go from 275,000 clicks a month to 2.2 million clicks a month with AI generated content. And then they go back down to about 1.5 million clicks a month. And now they're pretty steady at 2.85 million clicks a month. That is crazy. That's crazy with this AI generated content. And again, they are openly admitting that it's AI, but they're doing something that's, I would say, a bit suspicious. It seems like while they're openly admitting that it's AI in some places on the site, if you land on one of these pages from search, it's hard to immediately tell that the content was written by AI because the authors have these nebulous names like CoinWorld. And it looks like it could actually be a real person who was writing this. And the content doesn't seem overtly AI written. It's pretty convincing. It doesn't actually read like it was written by ChatGPT. So despite it uses AI generated heading images, which honestly are pretty bad. But despite the heading images, it reads well. And I believe they scaled up their content well because, like I said, this site has existed for years. It existed before ChatGPT was released. So the site has existed for years. They weren't always doing I don't think they were always doing the mass AI content. And then they scaled up the pages and the AI publishing. I think it looks like they scaled it up pretty well. And that's very important because you don't want to scale it up too fast because that is seen as a red flag. If I was a betting man, I would be very surprised if AI Invest doesn't get hit by a manual penalty because Google is literally instructing its quality raters who rate content to give AI content the quote unquote lowest rating possible. I don't think searchers want AI generated financial advice, and I don't think Google wants that as well, or AI generated news that will lead to financial decisions. Maybe that's more accurate to say. Google wants to be the only one who is giving the AI content with AI overviews. But I mean, that's called AI overviews. And if you click on one of these pages, it's hard to immediately tell that this is written by AI. However, it's a content site. This is informational content. So with everything that I just shared, should you invest, dear listener, dear viewer, in a content site? Here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Do it if it's fun for you and you like blogging. If you need to make money and you are hoping that this is going to be your passive income lifeline and it's going to save you and you're going to make this recipe blog and it's going to get you out of a bad place, don't invest in it. That is my advice. Do it if it's fun and you like to blog and you just want to have an awesome blog, then do it. Or do it. This isn't really a content site, but put up 1 to 2 blog posts. If you're selling something on your site, put up 1 to 2 blog posts a month to build topical authority, to just make yourself like more of an authority in your niche. And please, what I've seen is that Google has gotten better at identifying spammy SEO written content. Write your post, put the keyword at the beginning of your first sentence. That's pretty important. And aside from that, write your post like you are writing it if you had a newsletter or something and you were actually writing it to real people. Or you could do what I do. And if you have an email newsletter, repurpose your newsletters into articles. I send out a newsletter every Sunday. I take that newsletter and I just take it. I swap out because sometimes I say in this newsletter I will share so and so, or at the end of this news, if you like this newsletter, and I'll just replace the word newsletter with article, and I'll take that and I put it on my site edwardstrom.com/articles, and edwardstrom.com/articles. It's really an archive of all of my newsletters. And I use that. I interlink between my articles. I organize them. They're tagged and they're organized into SEO, into organic social, into paid, into miscellaneous. And I like that I have this archive here and I can share with people. With all that said, and with everything that was shared in this episode of the show, I would still consider in 2025, July 2025, I would still consider content sites a risky investment. A lot of these sites, like I've shared, their recoveries have been just a drop in the bucket compared to what they had before. And clicks to content sites are still going to AI. Over 1/3 of clicks for informational keywords, because AI overviews target informational keywords. When an AI overview shows up, 1/3 of clicks is just slashed. 34.5% less people click because of an AI overview. Making money, making highly targeted bottom of funnel pages generally has been better for making money for the last 10 years. So what would page titles for these bottom of funnel pages look like? Personal injury lawyer NYC, free business chat software, coffee for headache relief, voice note recorder for dentists, things like this. These type of pages have been better for making money with SEO for the last 10 years. They have been safer, easier, so they don't require as many backlinks. You don't need to put as much content, more durable, higher converting because they're at the bottom of the funnel. People are looking to take action, not just to get answers. And so they have been better for the last 10 years. I don't think it is worth investing in a content site unless you just generally really want to make a content site because it's a fun project for you. I think if you are selling something, you have a brand that sells products or services, put up these bottom of funnel SEO pages instead of doing top of funnel articles or blogs, and you'll be a lot happier and a lot better off. Do 1 to 2 of these blogs a month, but that's it. And that is all that I got for you on this episode of the podcast. If you want to go deeper into bottom of funnel SEO, it's actually, I believe, the best channel of marketing, bottom of funnel SEO, because there is no other channel of marketing where you can target people who are looking to buy what you offer right now. And I'm telling you, it's not very hard. You just have to target these keywords properly and have a decent amount of topical authority. If you're just doing general marketing, you're going to have that topical authority. Very few people, very few competitors are actually targeting these bottom of funnel keywords properly. So if you want to learn how to do that, I have an entire course on it at compactkeywords.com. Thank you everybody who has bought the course so far. And if you haven't, you're going to love it. And that is all that I got for you on this episode of the show. This is episode 742 of The Edward Show, 742 days in a row with my digital marketing podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.